The following program contains scenes and language of a frank and explicit nature. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hello and welcome to Filmjitsu, the podcast that wields films like deadly weapons. We are your hosts. I am Mike.
And I am Jay.
On this week's episode of Filmjitsu, Jason gets to go on vacation to the islands as he spent some time watching Weekend at Bernie's Part 2, the less funny one. We are also going to do our bottom 5 islands because I am a dearth of creativity. We're going to play a little bit of Dueling Double Bills before I find out what film I have to watch as payback for Weekend at Bernie's 2. But before all that, let's go ahead and roll the trailer.
America's favorite stiff is back.
That's Bernie Lomax. I recognize that smirk anywhere.
But this corpse has a job to do.
I found this in Bernie's wallet. It's a key to a safety deposit box in St. Thomas. That's the $2 million that Lomax stole.
It's noted as a personal entry account.
What does it mean?
The only one who could get in is Bernie Lomax personally, and well, he's kind of dead right now.
We go back to the morgue. We get the body. We go to St. Thomas. We take Bernie to the bank.
So they're packing him up.
I think I'm gonna sit down. Thanks. Get in there.
And heading for the islands.
Whoa, downwind. Whoa, back out.
But they're about to discover
Raise this man from the dead. He will lead you to where he has hidden the money.
that Bernie Lomax is more popular than ever.
2 guys. They're taking Bernie.
He's got style.
Where is he now?
You're so cute.
He's got charm.
How did you happen to meet old Bert?
In the conga line.
He's just got no soul.
I just saw a dead man walking on the bottom of the ocean.
But that never stopped Bernie.
You're the bravest guy I've ever met.
Weekend at Bernie's too. No one does dead like Bernie.
Jay, I'll be honest, I don't quite know where to start this conversation. Maybe we ought to start with Weekend at Bernie's 1.
Yeah.
A movie that lives rent-free in my head and in my heart. Let's start there. What is your relationship with 1989's Weekend at Bernie's?
I saw it so long ago that I knew that I had seen it, but then I watched it before watching Weekend at Bernie's 2 because I had no recollection of it at all.
Wow.
So
You're such a good egg. You're just like, you're always putting in the work. You're just always putting in the work.
I didn't want to walk in a Weekend at Bernie's 2 and not have integral plot elements that I had to carry with me. So I had to make sure that I was ready for the job. And as it turns out, whatever I might have liked about Weekend at Bernie's, the first movie, I no longer like. It was kind of like when I watched Police Academy 4. I had somewhat pleasant memories, but I didn't really remember the content. Watching Weekend at Bernie's again as an adult was a reminder of just how piss poor comedy was in the late 80s. And my God, that is an abhorrently bad movie. I mean, shockingly bad. With 2 leads in Andrew McCarthy and Jonathan Silverman who have less charisma than a piece of sandpaper. Not even normal sandpaper, used sandpaper. The kind that doesn't actually work on anything anymore. It's just worn down. They're awful. There's nothing funny going on. The only thing that's cool about it is Bernie and his smirk.
Yeah.
That's about the only thing that I can really say that's good about it. I mean, if you really want to stretch a little bit, Louis Giambalvo plays the mob boss in that movie.
Yeah.
He's another link to, of course, Real Genius. So, so of course, he's one of that guys from the 80s and 90s. I really liked him.
There are times when I feel like I don't know you at all.
Well, no, I think you thought for some reason, because you love this movie so much, that we had some sort of kinship with this.
No, because anyone should love Weekend at Bernie's.
No, nobody should like this movie. It's terrible and it's tasteless. It's classless. It's dumb.
Well, I will give you that, but that's because 1989 was tasteless and classless.
Sure.
So, okay,
yeah.
sure. I'll give it a product of its time.
It's not even that it does things that are offensive. It's just really fucking stupid. And after a while, like Andrew McCarthy is so unlikable in it. He's such an unlikable lech. Like Bill Murray can play a likable lech in something like Ghostbusters. He's a creep, but
yes,
he has charisma. Andrew McCarthy has no charisma whatsoever.
No riz, as the kids say.
Jonathan Silverman has no charisma whatsoever. Thank God that Catherine Marie Stewart is in Weekend at Bernie's, because that way I can be reminded of better films like The Last Starfighter and Night at the Comet. But instead, I've got to watch her in this bullshit. And then Weekend at Bernie's 2 commits the ultimate sin. She's dropped from the cast list. This movie set, 4 or 5 days at max after the last movie, where the goal of the last movie for Jonathan Silverman was to get with this girl. He gets her at the end. The next movie doesn't even mention her. She's gone, completely absent from the film. No explanation whatsoever. And I like the fact that Weekend at Bernie's 2 picks up right where the other one left off, because what else can you do? Right. You have to. He's a corpse. He's going to start rotting, right? Like,
you mean to tell me that the scene where they have Bernie hooked up like a marionette playing board games out on the deck? Nothing.
Oh yeah. Nothing. It's so not because of Andrew McCarthy. It has nothing to do with Terry Kaiser. Terry Kaiser and his smirk are absolute genius.
Yeah.
And in Weekend at Bernie's 2, they up the ante considerably, and they give him so much more opportunity for physical comedy. I actually prefer Weekend at Bernie's 2.
Is it worth at this point to sort of like explain, in case anybody doesn't know, what Weekend at Bernie's 1 is real quick, and then how we find ourselves possibly with a sequel to that concept?
Yeah, I mean, the first movie is about Andrew McCarthy and Jonathan Silverman, who work at a firm of some sort in
business.
New York.
They work at business.
Yeah, they work in business. They discover a $2 million discrepancy in the ledgers at work. They point it out to their boss, who's played by Terry Kaiser. He, of course, is embezzling the money. So he's like, come to my house in the Hamptons. They go down to the Hamptons. They party for the weekend. Only during that time, Terry Kaiser is killed. Bernie Lomax is the character that he plays. Bernie Lomax is killed by a hitman from an Italian mobster whose girlfriend Bernie is sleeping with. Right. So this movie just feels like Three's Company, the movie, but it's not funny, and it's missing Janet and Chrissy. So, and there's no John Ritter. Instead, we get Don Calfa, who is the hitman.
For sure.
All of these guys, I feel like, were in Three's Company. Like, all of them.
They were. Yeah.
So Bernie's dead, but because Andrew McCarthy is an asshole, he decides, let's go ahead and let's keep partying, even though this guy's dead, because no one notices that he's dead.
Right.
They just want to be around his money.
Yeah.
That's the premise of the first movie, right? Bernie's dead, but these two idiots are going to use dead Bernie to grow their social cash and become popular out on the Hamptons. And maybe they might try to solve the issue of what happened to Bernie and where that money went.
I think mostly they're worried about being blamed for his death.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's the lame excuse that shitty Andrew McCarthy uses so that they can party in this mansion for the weekend.
Right.
And that's the first movie.
Terrible. The second movie picks up right after the first movie ends, and they're back in New York City at the morgue, and Andrew McCarthy says, I'll take his personal effects. I'm his nephew. And again, just a total asshole, like just always doing terrible things.
So what, the guy had no family? None that's going to admit to him anyway, huh? Look at that.
Wait. Can you just save the grave robbing for later? Do whatever you need to do. Don't do it in front of me.
Whatever, Richie, whatever.
They got fired from their job because they think they have something to do with the missing money. Barry Bostwick plays a security guy who follows Andrew McCarthy and Jonathan Silverman to the U.S. Virgin Islands, where they take Bernie's body with them because a voodoo priestess has been hired by the mob to find the $2 million. And so she gets two henchmen that fuck up a ritual to reanimate Bernie and get the information from him. So now every time dead Bernie hears music, Dead Bernie starts dancing.
Yep.
And then he gets up and he heads like a compass needle toward north. He
like towards the
money, right?
The idea of which, by the way, is that this financial crime is not just like digital money moved around,
right.
But I guess that there's like $2 million in a treasure chest somewhere.
That's right. Yes, they actually think that like it's a briefcase by the end of the film, right? So the whole thing is just this comedy of errors sort of thing. It's very slapstick. It's very silly. The movie forgets about Jonathan Silverman and Andrew McCarthy after a while. It doesn't even care about them. It likes these two new guys who are the henchmen for the voodoo priest, but they don't really do all that much. Bernie's the real star of this thing. Every time music plays and Terry Kaiser starts dancing, it is actually funny. It's not gut-busting funny. It's not even knee-slapping funny, but it is chuckle funny.
Yeah.
And this dance that he does has legs. Like in the 2010s, there was a viral phenomenon called the Bernie dance, and it's based on Terry Kaiser's Weekend at Bernie's 2 dance. They started doing it at football games, at baseball games, like you get a touchdown or you get a walk-off home run. You do the Bernie dance.
He's moving, Richie. Swim with the fishes, you zombie bastard.
I will say that I think my opinion of Andrew McCarthy as an actor took a severe hit after I watched his documentary Brats about the Brat Pack and how his life was basically destroyed by a New York writer that coined the term Brat Pack.
Right.
And how he goes and he talks to other members of the Brat Pack now in current day and asks how it impacted their lives and how they all basically tell him, yeah, you should probably get over it.
Yeah, they're trying to be nice to the fact that like for basically everybody else, it worked out totally great. And so like, what are you crybabying about?
Yes.
Maybe this is a you problem.
Yes. Oh my God. When he interviews Emilio Estevez, Emilio looks like he's actually trapped. Like a little bit. And he's just like, yeah, buddy.
Boy.
Yeah. And he's kind of looking around, you know?
No. please, somebody pull a fire alarm.
I would argue that having less McCarthy and less Silverman makes it a better movie. Their shtick, their slapsticky thing is so lacking in charisma and laughs that it's actually difficult to watch.
Yeah.
As dumb as Weekend at Bernie's is, this is slightly less dumb, but it lacks the energy that Weekend at Bernie's had.
Sure.
The movie was directed by Robert Klane, who wrote the first movie and who is now directing and writing the second movie. And there's just not a lot of pizzazz behind the camera. There's not a lot of energy. The comedy really is very blah, very mid, as the kids would say.
Yeah.
And there's actually a moment early on that I feel really encapsulates the way that this movie defines funny.
Okay.
And it's when they're leaving the morgue at the very beginning, Andrew McCarthy and Jonathan Silverman walk out of the morgue and a guy walks by them and he's heading in. And the guy says, "Hey, I'm walking here." And like McCarthy looks back at him like, "Oh, okay," you know, like that. And that, I don't know what that is. I don't know if that's supposed to be funny. I'm fairly sure that was Robert Klane, the director.
Oh, okay.
Take that and make that a movie long.
Yeah.
Just a bunch of jokes that really aren't that funny. But I like the fact that they lean into the goofiness more than they do the tastelessness, because I feel like the first movie, when the mobster's wife shows up and sleeps with Bernie's corpse.
Yes.
Then comes downstairs and smokes a cigarette and talks about how great it was.
Bernie.
Yeah. Yep. That is so gross and so wrong-headed and not funny. In the second movie, you just get really silly things like Bernie in a conga line, you know, or Bernie... At one story, he gets stuck in a paragliding thing and he's upside down and then a shark tries to eat him.
I don't remember if it's the first movie where he falls off the back of the boat and he's hitting all the buoys, or if it's the second movie and the paragliding situation. I don't remember exactly. What I do know is there's one of them where Bernie like knocks a woman's top off, her bikini top.
First
and
movie.
I will tell you that my kid brother watched that scene watched it, rewound it, pretending it was funny, but we all know he was just peeking a boo. That scene was my kid brother's Phoebe Cates getting out of the pool. Like that's what it was for him.
Some no-name actress with Terry Kaiser knocking her top off.
Yep.
Oh my God.
Yep.
Oh my God, look at the tits on that one. What? Oh yeah, what?
Ladies.
Another fun thing that you would never in 1,000 years know, the director of the first Weekend at Bernie's, Ted Kotcheff.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
The same guy who directed First Blood.
Yeah.
But it gets interesting because here's in a 6 degrees of film jitsu kind of way. Mm-hmm. Do you know what else he directed? Back in 1968, he directed I think made for TV adaptation of Mice and Men.
Oh yeah.
Starring Dana Elcar, father of Dane Elcar.
Friend of the show. Oh man.
We got to get Dane back here. We should have had him on for this episode.
Well, I'll tell you, this Robert Klein guy, he has a lot of good writing credits, right? Like National Lampoon's European Vacation, and a movie that I love, I have a real soft spot for, which is the Tom Hanks, The Man with One Red Shoe. It's a remake of The Tall Blonde Man with One Red Shoe. I really like the vibe of that movie. The only other thing that Robert Klein directed besides Weekend at Bernie's 2 is an Odd Couple reunion TV movie the same year, 1993. That's it.
That's
it. In fact, he just wrote a little bit after, not a lot. He wrote for Tracy Takes On, that TV show with Tracy Ullman.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And then he was done. That was it. I think he was done as of the early 90s, and he didn't do anything for the last 20, 30 years of his life. So
he didn't pull a Bernie or anything,
no,
right?
He just
stopped working?
Not that anybody's aware of. Maybe he did because he didn't generate anything. So who knows? Maybe he was maybe he was being led around by fishing wire and stuff. Just waving to people.
Well, I think my motivation for giving you this movie was because it is sort of an exercise in the absurd.
Yeah.
And that I do, unlike you, and for reasons that I can only explain with the fact that your heart is broken, is that I love the first Weekend at Bernie's. And the second Weekend at Bernie's is just such like, the fact that it exists is the part that interests me because the pitch for that movie is wild.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
The pitch for the first movie, pretty clever, right? I mean, you can see it. It's like,
I think it's more clever the second one, but that's me. I mean,
the idea, you can imagine the elevator pitch for Weekend at Bernie's, right? Like these two guys, they go to the Hamptons and their boss is dead and they spend the weekend trying to convince everybody he's alive. Okay.
Yeah.
But there's no voodoo involvement. There's no treasure. There's no conga lines. Like when you're trying to like, okay, quick, like in the writer's room, you know, like, okay, pitch me the idea. Like what's the sequel to that premise?
Right.
It feels like the first thing is somebody's like, what if voodoo is involved? And everybody has a laugh and then you keep going, right? But nope, that's the one they went with. So the fact that there was ever a sequel to this movie, the fact that this was what the sequel was, is kind of amazing. And I do think, because you're right, you are right. As much as I love Weekend at Bernie's, everything that you said about it is completely valid. But I think it's kind of fascinating that out of all of the movies, all of the very like mid-tier comedies that came out of the 1980s, why is it that this one has sort of like stuck in our craw a little bit and is still around? Like why? It should have just been forgotten to the bin.
Because it's such an absurd premise that it's actually hard to believe that anyone would make that movie. Mm-hmm. And then what happens in the movie is so unbelievable. It's the apex of terrible 80s comedy thinking, right? That's really what it is. It's when everybody said, okay, we've done way too much cocaine. We need to back off a little bit and go back. But they tried to sequelize it and they did even more cocaine, I think. But after that, I think comedies, I mean, it's sad, right? Because with the new Naked Gun that's in the movie theaters now, people are talking about how maybe comedy might be making a comeback and stuff. But let's be real. The 2020s, we haven't had much to be really laughing about. There haven't been a lot of great comedies over the past 20 years or so. Most of the things that you see aren't straight comedies. They're frequently comedies that are either buried in a dramatic idea something like 8th Grade or Lady Bird, right? Those things.
Yep.
There are your super bads and stuff, but by and large, there aren't as many, right? And there aren't any high concept comedies really, right? Unless they're rebooting things like Ghostbusters and stuff.
And Superbad was 2007.
Yeah, it's a long time ago, right? Yeah,
it was
exactly.
a long time ago. And I would
ago.
kind of argue like that was the last comedy that was like huge.
Yeah, maybe.
We had a period there where the Judd Apatow comedy was doing well, but that was a long time ago. And you're right. We haven't had a lot to laugh about in the last 10 years.
They tend to mix it with horror. They mix it with drama. They mix it with whatever. Even The Hangover had like an action vibe to it. It was a little gritty. It wasn't just flat out funny, outright funny, aiming to make you laugh funny. The point is, the time of this kind of movie, it only exists in this vacuum of 89 through 94, right? Like it was in that 5-year period where you would get the most bonkers, crazy movies. And they kind of have that humor that something like Porky's would have, or the Hot Dog the movie, whatever they are, like those types of movies. But they stopped serving up boobs with it, really, for the most part, except for that scene that your brother loved so much. But
even then, it was a blink and you'll miss it kind of thing.
So it's like these exploitation movies were really angling to be exploitation movies. They weren't even angling to be funny. Well, what we got was that type of funny without the exploitation. And that's how you end up with something like Weekend at Bernie's.
Get ready for the wildest, sexiest, craziest, most intellectually stimulating movie of the year.
I promise to do everything within my power, using all my abilities, talents, and assets to win every man on campus. So help me hot! When the water reaches that boiling point.
When you got the hots, you got everything, and everybody is out to get the hot.
Take it up, take it up, take it up, take it up.
It's real cool. It's real crazy. Hots. It'll make your temperature rise.
Am I glad that we don't make movies like this anymore? I don't know. I like silly. I like silly movies. And I can't say I did not like Weekend at Bernie's, the first movie, when I watched it as an adult. Like it just didn't really work for me. I didn't really like Weekend at Bernie's 2 either, but it was refreshing after Weekend at Bernie's. It was kind of like, oh, this is clever. This is what they have to do with this. I will say it begins with an absolutely shite late 80s syndicated cartoon style opening credits sequence. Like,
oh, I love animated opening credit sequences.
I do too, but not when they look worse than like a Deke or Nelvana TV show. Like Super Friends looked better than this. It was dreadful. And they did it again at the end too. But yeah, this one ends with Bernie being dead, and he's got the harpoon through his head accidentally. So that happened. Terry Kaiser was actually interested in doing a third one for a while.
Yeah.
And I don't know how the hell they would have or could have done it, but
more voodoo.
I had an idea actually of a prequel that like a totally serious, dramatic prequel about how Bernie was so alone in his life, because look, at Weekend at Bernie's 2, there's no one to sign for his personal effects. There's no one to handle funeral arrangements or anything like that, right? So what happened to Bernie that led to that? And I was like, we should do some really subversive cinema here and make like a dark, dramatic movie that leads directly in to Weekend at Bernie's, the first movie. Yeah. I can actually see the trailer now and hear the Weekend at Bernie's theme played slowly on an echoey piano.
You don't want to get to the point where we get really deep about how the whole thing is a metaphor for how lonely the materialism of the 1980s really was.
Yeah.
You don't want to get into all that sort of stuff.
That's what you would do with that movie.
Well, and here's the pitch. Terry Kaiser, now he must be in his mid 80s at this point, right?
He's an older guy.
So in that movie, like Terry Kaiser plays the dad, like he plays Bernie's father, right? And we find somebody else to play a young Bernie.
Scene, yeah, for sure. I think we better go talk to some people about this.
Yeah, we don't have a lot of time.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Jay, I'm going to be honest. This might not be the tightest bottom 5 I've ever come up with.
Yeah.
There were probably a bunch of other things I could have paired with Weekend at Bernie's too that made more sense than bottom 5 islands, but I don't know. Maybe I was in the mood to talk about islands. Here we are. So let's just make hay while the sun shines and see if we can figure it out, right? What do you say?
Yeah, I was trying to be clever with this one, and so I did think a little bit outside the box, not as much as I wanted to, however.
Yeah.
I spent way too much time researching movies set in kitchens so that I could talk about kitchen islands.
Kitchen islands? Oh, like the one in Halloween Ends?
That's the one. That was the one
where
I could
the
think
island
of.
slides out and there's a Michael Myers trap underneath.
No,
Oh, that's pretty good.
I was thinking about the fight on top of it. The island opening up and things going down is incredibly stupid from a story standpoint, but it's actually really cool. But the two of them like fighting on it and it's getting gnarly and stuff.
Yeah.
That's an island I wouldn't want to be near.
Honorary mention.
So yeah, I ended up not going with kitchen islands, but it would have been great had I done it. And
I wish you had.
Me too.
There'll be time at the end.
Yeah,
There'll
but
be time
I don't
at
know.
the end.
But anyway, what was your approach with this?
For me, it just had to be that the island was integral to the plot somehow. It just can't be that the movie took place on an island or some shit. Like the island had to be important to the story.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, which again, maybe not a super close tie to Weekend at Bernie's 2, but here we are. So
yeah, definitely not. It didn't matter where they were.
Right. Well, my number 5 is a good example of an island being crucial to the story. It is Isla Nublar from Jurassic Park.
Yeah, sure. I mean, absolutely.
Yeah, it's an island overrun by man-eating dinosaurs. Yeah. And they keep getting worse as those movies go on.
Yeah.
At first, it's just a terrifying T-Rex. But why stop there when the island can also have the Indominus Rex, which, as best I can tell, is like a genetic all-star game of murder lizards, right? Then the island explodes and kills everything on it. By my count, there were about 50 people who died on that island. And just for being the island that held Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
And then also exploding, it's my number 5.
Yeah, you don't want to go there.
Yeah.
This one is important to the plot in some ways, but not in a major way. And it's, I'm not sure if you might call bullshit on this, but let's say you think you've landed somewhere safe, right?
Yep.
And then the ground starts closing in because you're actually inside the mouth of a space slug living in a hollow meteor in space. Yes, it's The Empire Strikes Back. The Millennium Falcon,
good one,
in the middle of a meteor belt, hides on an island, and they gotta check out the ship. It's took some damage after a battle, and they're going, and then all of a sudden the ground starts moving, and you're like, oh my God, we got to get out of here. This thing's alive. And then they fly out and a fucking hand puppet comes after the ship. Right? All right. George Lucas actually said it was one of the weirdest things that they filmed for any of the movies was this crazy hand puppet thing that comes out of a rock and chases the Millennium Falcon.
Man, you are taking this garbage list that I came up with and just making it hum. I'm so impressed already. Kitchen islands. And that's really good. I'm here for it. I'm here for it.
Great.
It's also a little bit affirming of my number 4 pick because I thought maybe you'd give me grief.
Okay.
Because my number 4 is an entire planet.
Yeah. My number 3 is.
Is it Fury 161?
No.
From Alien 3?
No.
Well, that's mine.
The prison planet.
The prison planet,
it's an
right?
Island, right? It's an island. That's what it is.
It's an entire isolated planet used as a prison. So it's basically an intergalactic Alcatraz.
Yes,
right?
Absolutely. I'm with you.
Which would be bad enough on its own.
Yeah.
But the movie also sucks.
Oh.
So there's this like real triple threat right here where like an entire planet turned into an island prison crawling with xenomorphs in maybe the worst alien film in the franchise. It counts. And it sucks bad enough that it's my number 4.
This used to be a 5,000 convict facility, but it's been reduced to a custodial staff of 25.
Why?
Keep the pilot light on.
Well, my number 4 is the Lighthouse Island from The Lighthouse from 2019.
Oh, wow.
You got 2 lighthouse keepers, 1 barren rock off of New England, and a slow motion descent into insanity that involves drinking kerosene and screaming at seagulls and fucking a starfish and farting your way into infamy. You know, it's just...
What is hilarious is that I might be talking about that a little later on my list.
Oh my God. Yes.
And even though you just gave us a litany of things that make it a bottom 5 island, I have a completely different litany of things, which really highlights how bad that island is. That's a great pick.
Wow. Yeah, I like it a lot, but I guess I'll shut up about it then because you're going to talk about it. But I can't figure out whether I like this Robert Eggers film or if I hate it. I have no idea. I don't know where I land with it. I think I love the performances that are in the film by Willem Dafoe and Robert Pattinson. And I absolutely love the way it's shot, right? Jaron Blaschke, who was the shooter on the film, is absolutely the box ratio that makes everything feel really claustrophobic, black and white, etc. Beautiful.
Yeah,
but
it is.
All together, for some reason, it's not. I'm not sure it works. So I don't know.
I don't know if it works. I think it mostly does. But for me, it's also a film that I have a real hard time finding a moment in my week where I'm like, you know what I want to watch right now? Like, it's just not the kind of thing I find myself revisiting.
Yeah.
It's not the kind of island that I want to go back to, right?
That's fair. Yeah. Which is why it's on a bottom 5 list.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's going to be back again in a little bit. But until then, my number 3 is another prison, which I'm unclear why that's so interesting to me, but I guess it is. At least this time it's an actual island, not a planet. I am going with the absolutely brutal penal colony of Devil's Island in Papillon from 1970.
Oh, forget about it. Yeah, absolutely.
Right? The Steve McQueen movie, which is such a good, it's such a like,
it's like an endurance test, that movie.
Mm-hmm. It really is, right? So Steve McQueen plays this guy who gets bounced around from one prison sentence to the next before landing on Devil's Island, which is a real penal colony in French Guiana. Snake-filled jungle, shark-infested waters, malaria, dysentery.
It's got it all, baby.
Guards that'll just beat the shit right out of you, right? It's this punishing place that is designed to break prisoners down psychologically as much as anything else. And it's a real place, which honestly is like, it's worse than any fiction you can cook up as an island. It had a 75% death rate in its 100 years of operation, right? 3 out of every 4 people on Devil's Island died there.
Jesus. Oh my God.
In the 19th century, they brought 15 prostitutes to the island with the idea that it would cause all the men on the island to like shack up and settle down. I don't know whose plan that was. What a hilariously French thing to do. Instead, they traded sexual favors for rum and everybody got syphilis. Right? So it's right. It's no wonder that Steve McQueen was willing to take his chances jumping into the ocean, hanging onto a floating sack of coconuts, because it's an island of absolute horrors on film and also in real life. And so it's my number 3.
You were outside the walls. Why didn't you run? There's no place to run to. You're out in the middle of a swamp, 1,000 miles from no place. Well, if you got a lot of money, that's a different thing.
My number 3 is the planet one, okay? And it's a definite cheat, but it gives the vibe. All of these planets in this film give the vibe of islands where the human race is trying to find refuge. It's from Interstellar. It's Miller's Planet.
Okay.
Christopher Nolan basically gives us the worst beach vacation in the galaxy. An ankle-deep ocean world orbiting so close to a black hole that 1 hour there equals 7 years on Earth. So, yeah, you can wade for 60 minutes and miss your kid's entire childhood. Cinematographer Hoyt van Hoytema makes it all look so stunning up until that giant tidal wave comes, right? It's about the size of an office building, right? You would not want to stop here. Not for the time, not for the giant waves. So I know it's a cheat, but again, all of those planets that they have to visit are very much islands in the sea of space. And so I looked at it that way, and that is one I most certainly would not want to visit. So
it's funny that we both sort of thought of isolated planets as islands.
I struggled with this bottom 5 because there's very, very, very obvious islands, like movies with islands in the name. I won't go to them in case you're going to talk about any of them. And I didn't want to talk about those because either I don't like them or I don't remember them, or they didn't really speak to me to talk about them.
Yeah,
that's why I wanted to.
It sounds
do
like
these.
maybe we both dodged the island of Dr. Moreau. I didn't include it on my list. And kind of for the reason that you said, is like, it was a little obvious and also didn't really hit home for me much.
I don't need to talk about Marlon Brando wearing like a tent with an ice bucket on top of his head. Like that's been recounted over and over and over again. So I'm good. But what's your number? You're down to number 2, aren't you?
I am down to number 2, and this is where we are going to take a stop at the lighthouse, right? Like for all of the reasons that you mentioned, for the geography and all that kind of stuff. But man, it's the situation on this island,
the
right?
2 guys.
Like, you're stuck on an island with an absolutely unhinged Willem Dafoe having a complete and utter mental breakdown. And just imagine how bad that is, considering how bonkers a hinged William Dafoe is on a good day, right?
Yeah, right.
Hark! Triton! Hark!
He's trying to bury you alive. He's trying to kill you with an axe. But don't worry, because if you're on the island and you're kind of sick of trying to survive the lunatic lighthouse keeper, there's plenty of other options for you, Jay. You can always have visions of sea monsters.
Yep.
You can masturbate to your toy mermaid that you found lying around. You can get terrorized by a one-eyed seagull that's definitely totally 100% an omen of your own impending death. You can discover a severed head in a lobster trap. And to top it all off, the fucking lighthouse disappears, which means that you are either going totally mad or you've been punished by a Promethean god for trying to steal a glimpse of the eternal. Either way, you can skip sending me a postcard from the fucking batshit island. So good Lord. Like all of the things, we didn't even repeat each other. There is so much insanity going on this island.
I just stuck
in
with
this
the
one
farting,
movie.
really.
That's right. Yeah. Holy shit with this movie.
Yeah. Well, my number 2, I went ahead with a very obvious one that I think may well be on your list. Summer Isle from 1973's The Wicker Man. On paper, a quaint Scottish isle with maypoles and folk songs and Christopher Lee in a cape. It sounds like a dream getaway. But in practice, it's a pagan death trap where the locals lure Edward Woodward into a giant wicker oven and then set him on fire, all while singing cheerfully about the harvest, right?
Yeah.
Directed by Robin Hardy and shot by Harry Waxman. The film was absolutely butchered on release, and it was barely shown in the UK. But, later on, it became a cult classic. I think a lot of people really like it. I find it very interesting movie. Really, really weird vibe coming out of this thing. Christopher Lee loved it so much that it's said that he worked for free and he personally screened it at universities to kind of keep it alive. But in hindsight, that's the kind of enthusiasm you should be suspicious of when visiting any island, right?
Like maybe going into that college screening room was like, are we walking into a Wicker Man? Are we getting Wicker Man right now?
I am here to investigate the disappearance of a young girl. Where is Rowan Morrison?
If Rowan Morrison existed, we would know.
I suspect murder.
Sergeant, I've already told...
In the name of God, woman, what kind of mother are you? That can stand by and see your own child slaughtered.
You are the fool, Mr. Harry.
You're liars. You are despicable little liars.
In vibe, it reminds me a lot of Picnic at Hanging Rock, another film that a lot of folks really, really love and would kind of call folk horror. I don't like Picnic at Hanging Rock very much. It's kind of dull. Whereas the dullness here is part of the oppressive nature of this very happy island.
It's a good pick. I couldn't put it on my list because I don't think I've seen Wicker Man since maybe I was 16 years old.
Sure.
Well, we're at my number one. I think the term nightmare fuel gets thrown around a little too casually.
For sure it does. Yeah.
Right? People love to use this. Like, for example, is the picture that I have of you wearing denim booty shorts disturbing? Of course it is.
Yes.
But I can't just call every single thing that horrifies my senses nightmare fuel.
Okay.
I save that for special occasions like right now, because my number one is practically the definition of nightmare fuel for me. And that is Pleasure Island from the 1940 animated classic Pinocchio.
Interesting.
Because does Pleasure Island have rides and games? Sure it does.
Mm-hmm.
Does it have pies and dill pickles and ice cream? That's a weird flex, but yep, that's what they promise you when you get off the boat. Pies and dill pickles and ice cream.
Yeah.
Right? It has unlimited leaf tobacco and mansions where you can just destroy shit, including like graffiti on the Mona Lisa. All very exciting things to do on an island.
Yeah.
But it's also where all the children transform into horrific donkeys in the most nightmare fuel filled scene of bestial terror that you could ever possibly show in a fucking child's cartoon. Maybe don't follow the most obviously evil talking fox you can imagine into an island of hedonism, because once you get there, you might transform into an abomination that haunts the dreams of children for the next 85 years and then get sold into slavery as literal jackasses. That's a terrible island.
Wow.
It's a terrible island.
Yeah, that's a bad
Maybe
one.
worse than the Fire Festival. It's a terrible island. That's my number one.
Maybe.
The scene where Lampwick, the bad boy that is a bad influence on Pinocchio, the scene where he transforms into a donkey, it's done in like silhouette as he transforms, and he's braying this horrific like blood.
It's a weird, creepy moment for sure.
It's terrifying when you are a young child who was like, I thought I was watching The Little Puppet Kid. What the fuck is this about? It's so scary.
Well, my number one is a very obvious one, and it is either this or Lord of the Flies, but I went with this one because this is Lord of the Flies, essentially, but with bombs put around kids' necks. And that's Battle Royale.
Good pick.
Kinji Fukasaku's idea of a high school retreat.
Mm-hmm.
Ship a class of kids to a remote island after gassing them on their bus.
Yep.
Put on those aforementioned bombs around their neck and make them kill each other until one's left standing. Fair enough, right?
Yeah.
Because they're trying to, solve a epidemic of bad behavior
misbehaving
in children, right?
I think.
It's much better to just put them on an island and have them kill each other.
Right.
Cinematographer Katsumi Yanagishima keeps it gritty and gorgeous, especially during the lighthouse scene, which somehow manages to be both the safest looking spot and turns out to be the bloodiest. This movie, like The Wicker Man, was banned in several countries, but it was adored by Quentin Tarantino, and it's probably responsible for more how to survive forum threads than even The Walking Dead. There's not much worse than an island where you get a bomb slapped on your neck and you have to kill all your friends.
Jay, you really rescued my garbage bottom 5 list. I'm not going to lie to you. You're the real hero of this moment. That's for sure. I thought about this island, and I actually did think of Lord of the Flies as well.
Yep.
I didn't go with Lord of the Flies because I really felt like the island had to be a really important part of the plot. And yes, being stuck on the island is that, but it really is about the dynamic of the kids.
Correct.
I think that Battle Royale is a much better example of the kind of thing I'm talking about. Is like the geography of that island and the way that they push the kids closer and closer in together. And it sort of forced them closer. It's a really big part of why that film works for me.
Yeah.
It's a great movie. I love it. It's
the shared DNA in most of my list is the idea that where you're going and where you wind up could be picturesque or could be seemingly restful, and turns out it's not. There's something working against you on this island.
Right.
If you go to something like Castaway, it's just very, very obvious.
One of my very favorite movies growing up as a kid that I watched all the time was the 1960s Disney version of A Swiss Family Robinson.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
I loved that movie. And when I was a kid, I was like, I wish that I could get stranded on an island that I have to explore, because maybe there's pirates and maybe there's giant snakes and maybe there's a lady that I don't know is a lady until I find out she's a lady and then I kiss the lady. I wanted to have the Swiss Family Robinson adventure so bad when I was a kid.
Well, so that's definitely not going to be a bottom 5 for you.
No, but maybe it's why I was so fixated on the idea of talking about islands. So thank you for going along with the idea. You pulled it off, sir. I'm quite impressed.
As did you, sir. Mike, it's that time again on the show when you and I have 2 randomly generated titles served up to us, and we have to go ahead and come up with double bills. And whoever does the better double bills, I think we're going to end up, one of us is going to have to watch one of these double bills down the line.
Oh, right. That was the idea, right?
Yeah, the loser.
Yep. We're on the honor system here because you are definitely keeping track of this and I am definitely not. So at
you're
the end
beating
of the
me
year,
by 2 points. So I need to sweep very soon, but
today's your chance to regain some ground, right? Let's see how it goes.
Or lose even more. Let's see how it goes. So our first film, usually they are somewhat linked to what we were talking about.
Sure.
In this case, it would be something to do with islands or perhaps reanimated corpses or 80s comedies, who knows, but it'll be something that's linked in. We're going to go ahead and our first movie is, well, we just mentioned it, Castaway from 2000, directed by Robert Zemeckis and starring Tom Hanks. Not a lot of intro needed for that one. We all know Castaway.
Yep.
So now our next movie. Oh, man, what a cool choice. I don't know what you'll think of it because you're not a big fan of this director, or not as much of a fan as other people are. Guess the director, Mike.
Is it Wes Anderson?
It is indeed. So what would the movie be?
Oh, boy.
The Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou.
Oh, The Life Aquatic. Okay.
Yeah,
all right.
Right.
Okay.
Not one of my favorite Wes Anderson movies. I didn't find it all that great, although that one guy that did all the David Bowie covers on that one was really good. I liked him.
Seguir sem pintar, eu não vi o seu filme, não sou de jogar, não bebo em pé, não sei.
Can I just pair this with The Big Lebowski so that at least I can enjoy one of the movies I watched that night?
You can do whatever you like, dude.
No, that's not going to earn me any points on this show or with our audience. That's for sure.
I want to do. Oh, no, I don't want to do that. Maybe I do.
Yeah, it's like a real Rorschach test for you.
Yeah, that's what it is. I don't, and I shouldn't do it that way, but
this one's taken me a little bit more time.
For once, I actually have mine down. But again, I don't think I'm winning any awards with this. Pretty kind of similar ocean themed ish type flicks that, sort of seems that's the thing here.
While being wildly different in tone and performance and every other possible way.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. Okay, so basically just the water really is the only thing that's similar. You got Castaway from 2000. And then, of course, Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou. So Bill Murray's coming to grips with his middle-age malaise, right? Like that kind of thing. So what did you do for Castaway?
I always like to talk about the movies I thought about and then didn't pick.
Yeah.
That's a fun thing. Kind of the way my brain works.
Yeah.
The first thing I thought about was Joe versus the volcano.
Oh,
right.
Like a Tom Hanks-a-thon.
Like, Tom Hanks on an island, right?
Wasn't that an island?
Yes.
Yeah.
It is, yeah. So I thought about that, but I decided that Castaway, while being like dramatic and heartfelt, and it's about, I don't know, it's a guy on an adventure. I wanted to kind of lighten it up a little bit, right? That Wilson scene. Look, I told you what I think happens to Wilson in that movie.
Yep.
So,
no, I know. Yeah.
So I decided to lighten things up a little bit here. I'm going to pair that with my other favorite movie about adventure on the high seas.
Okay.
We're going to be pairing Castaway with Muppet Treasure Island.
That's a choice.
Yeah, it's a choice. Muppet Treasure Island, maybe the most fun performance that
Tim
my
Curry
dear friend
ever gave.
Tim Curry could ever give as Long John Silver, right?
Pleased I am to initiate you into our enterprising company.
That's what I decided to do. I'm going to do Castaway with Muppet Treasure Island.
Brian Henson would love this matchup.
Mm-hmm.
He'd be thrilled.
Mm-hmm.
I went a very different direction that's more in line with what you originally were thinking with Joe versus the Volcano. I went with a Tom Hanks-a-thon, but I went with Castaway and Cloud Atlas. So really doubling down on the searching for yourself, finding yourself. One is about survival on the island. One of them is about survival, like of your soul through generations, through time. You know, one of them, he's talking to the volleyball Wilson, and in the other one, he's maybe talking to himself across generations, or he's talking to Halle Berry across centuries, whatever that is. So I loved Cloud Atlas. Dodgy prosthetics aside, I really liked it.
I didn't love Cloud Atlas.
Oh, I could totally see these two movies playing really nicely together.
Sure.
But let's talk about your Steve Zissou and what? What are you doing over on that side?
This is a little bit of a tricky one because I don't love this filmmaker.
Yeah.
And this is out of the films of his that I have seen, probably the one that I have maybe the least opinion on. Like I don't feel passionately about this movie one way or the other.
Yeah.
It's just sort of fine to me. So I know that it's a little bit like you say, it's about Steve Zissou sort of coming to terms with his lot in life and trying to figure things out. My pick here, it's offbeat and it's quirky, which is definitely what I was going for as I thought about a Wes Anderson film. This one might have paired better with Castaway. Honestly, I don't know. But I'm going to go with Swiss Army Man.
Oh man, that would have went really well with Castaway.
Yep.
I can see why it works with Steve Zissou. To me, I think you should win Castaway.
Yeah.
You should take Swiss Army Man and put it with Castaway, and that is a winner right there.
Okay.
Like because I didn't love Muppet Treasure Island the way you do. I like it. Don't get me wrong. I do like it. But I don't love it paired with Castaway. I think it's just tonally too wacky.
Yeah, right.
And I know too that Swiss Army Man is tonally really wacky, but it's the right kind of tone switch. Those two movies paired together make a great double bill. So I would give you that win. My Steve Zissou double feature is with a very obvious choice considering what Steve Zissou is doing in the movie. It's with Jaws.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yep.
The most obvious thing. And what you get is you get a thrilling adventure on the high seas where you're hunting a shark here, and then you've got a deadpan humor similar thing where they're hunting a shark, right? And you've got a whole team of people on one, and you get one guy that gets killed, and you really feel that moment. You get one guy that's killed. So I feel like there's a real symmetry there between those two movies.
I like it. I like it a lot.
Yeah.
So you screen Jaws first, right? Like you kind of build the tension, and then you cut the tension with the laugh after that.
Yeah, you could do that. Yeah, for sure. I think
That's
even
good.
the ending of Jaws sets up, right? With that little laughter and stuff like that, and then swimming, that sets up Steve Zissou, So I think that
sort of.
that
Oh my
works
God.
great.
Like, can you imagine the end of Jaws as Brody and Hooper are dog paddling to shore?
Yes.
And then like Steve Zissou's
just like floating in.
Floats in from
it's
like screen
underneath
left.
in his little submarine.
Oh man. Okay. All right. I like this a lot, actually.
Yeah, it's
That's
pretty
really good.
And I
That's
love Castaway and Swiss Army Man together. So
Yeah, well, here's what I'm going to do because I do like a good competition, right? So the Jaws and Steve Zissou is fantastic. You obviously get the point here, right? I think the Castaway and Swiss Army Man is great, but that was your idea, not mine. So you get the point for that.
I don't think that's true.
Which brings us into a tie and suddenly makes the game interesting.
Oh boy.
again, right?
Here we go.
So That's how I feel about it.
Oh, that's awfully generous. I think that
you programmed my double bill better than I did.
You had that idea. I was just following through with your idea.
The theme of this entire episode, Jay, is that I have had some bad ideas that you have rescued from the trash and made into something. That's been the theme of this entire episode.
Oh, man.
From the movie I picked to the bottom 5 list I gave you to this moment right now, you deserve all the points for all the things on this week's episode.
Such a good friend. You know, Mike, every year I like to give you something special, something meaningful, something that says, I see you and I want to hurt you in a very specific way.
Like the back of a Volkswagen?
It's become a tradition now. My annual Meryl Streep pick.
Oh, Jesus.
Year 1 out of Africa. Sweeping, award-winning, and so mind-numbingly slow it almost killed you. Year 2, Mamma Mia, all ABBA, all the time, which you somewhat understandably adored.
How did this become a thing?
This year, I thought, how do I split the difference? How do I find a Meryl movie that is neither achingly prestigious nor joyously camp, but something in that magical no man's land where box office disappointment and critical shrugs kind of live side by side? A film that managed to waste the talents of one of our greatest living actresses while pairing her with a co-star who makes a department store toilet seem charming by comparison. In 1989, audiences were treated to such a thing. A dark comedy that limped through its release, earned only a modest return at the box office, and scored the rare feat of a marquee featuring 2 actresses from entirely different acting universes. A collision so ill-fated it inspired our next bottom 5. The bottom 5 team-ups. Mike, your next viewing assignment is Meryl Streep and Roseanne Barr.
I watched the trailer for this week.
In She-Devil.
Oh, you son of a bitch.
Look, we all know how much you love these Streep Jitsu episodes, man.
Oh, no.
But can your beloved Meryl save a film in which she co-stars with Roseanne Barr?
Oh, my God. Jason, I watched the trailer this week.
Why?
Added the film to my short list for movies to make you watch.
Yeah, bitch.
And then karma's a bitch. Here we are. Nope. It was. Do you have my house bugged?
Maybe.
Is that what's going on? Are you monitoring me electronically?
No man is an island, Mike.
I got to erase my browser history. This is bad news. This sucks. So wait, what is the bottom 5?
Bottom 5 team-ups.
Team-ups.
So think about it. Stellar combinations of stars, celebrities that should work but don't.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying here.
Yep.
All right. Oh, good. Well, that'll be fun, even if She-Devil's going to be the worst.
Yeah. There's going to be some stuff you really don't like about this movie. That I can tell you right now.
Your unending quest to ruin Meryl Streep for me is really, it's quite sinister. It really is, because it was one of those things, like, I wasn't a diehard Meryl Streep fan.
Right.
I just had all the respect for her that anybody that loves movies should.
Yes.
So, like, I guess I was Switzerland when it comes to Meryl Streep, right? And you decided that what you were going to do is put your thumb on the scales and try to figure out how to turn me against Meryl Streep, so that in any conversation with people who like movies, I'm going to have to be the guy that's like, nah, about Meryl Streep, and just be like absolutely ostracized by anybody who's seen movies. That's what you're doing.
No,
to me
the real plan is that I'm going to get you to not like her as much so she can be mine.
Oh, so you can have her forever?
Yes. That way she is mine, not yours.
You might have another Thumbs movie coming your way.
Oh, that's you bitch. Oh, God. Oh.
Well, this sounds fantastic. I'm really looking forward to ruining my fucking summer with She-Devil. Thanks a bunch. So I hope everybody will come back and listen to that. If you want to hear me get angry, spoiler alert, that's going to be our next episode. Until then, we have been your hosts. I am Mike.
And I am Jay.
And we'll see you next time.
Stalno mislim na te, hoću znat sve kate, vježbat ću sate i sate. Karate, vježbat ću dok zadnji mi kjaj izostane izađe.
Put your hands in front of your mic on a podcast, Mike. This is a good way to have a podcast.
Let's go ahead and talk.
Fucking dummy. Would have I ever done this before?